You're watching the Brother Henry and You Show.
Engaging. Informative. Inspirational.
Enjoy today's program. Hello, my name is Henry. You're watching the Brother Henry and You Show. I'm so honored to be here today with one of my great friends, Megan. It's such an honor to have you here.
Hey, thank you for having me.
She's
I'm really
awesome.
excited.
She has a kind spirit about herself. She's a sweet person. And I'm so honored to be able to sit here with her. And we're going to talk about something that's very relevant. It's something that a lot of people sweep under the rug. They don't want to talk about. And some people have just been simply misinformed.
Exactly.
They really don't know anything about it. They don't know what they're talking about. But
yeah.
We have somebody here today that's going to talk about mental illness. And Megan, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you.
I think we need to start out with this. A lot of people probably don't even know what mental illness is. Can you kind of give us a brief definition of what mental illness is?
Yeah, so mental illness is basically when your brain chemistry is altered by some kind of deficit or any kind of alteration of the chemicals themselves, and which results in symptomatic episodes, behaviors, feelings, anything from, it can be as extreme to hallucinations or hearing voices, or it can just be feeling down or having no motivation to do something. Or it could just be, foggy brain, memory loss. The symptoms, the range of symptoms are, incredibly vast, because you can have everything from the extremity to things that, you may just be like, I wonder why I'm not feeling that great today. It can be something as mild as that, but mental illness is not all in your head, as a lot of people would like to say. There is science behind mental illness. There is so much research that has come up over the past 20 years, and especially in the past 5 years, that prove that mental illness is not just somebody going crazy.
Yeah.
There's science to it. It is actually what you would call a physical disorder.
Yeah.
That's something that when I was in the hospital not too long ago, there was a class about mental illness, and I thought it was great because it made all of us who were there in the hospital feel just better about the fact that it isn't all in our head.
Yeah.
There's science behind it. It's physical. It's your actual brain. There's something going wrong in your brain. The neurotransmitters are off, or there's a chemical imbalance, something. It's not just us.
Yeah.
So much of what happens symptomatically due to mental illness is out of your control. Like your emotions, for example. Whether it's a mood disorder or you have mood swings or anything like that, and it can even be hormone related. And actually that's something that is in your brain are hormones like dopamine, serotonin, all of those fluctuate. And if you're lacking in dopamine or serotonin like I am, you can be experiencing major mood swings or extreme depression or just lack of motivation. All of these hormones contribute to how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And you can't control how you're feeling.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what I feel a lot of people need to realize, is that whenever somebody's feeling down or depressed, or they can't get out of bed because they feel so depressed, it is not 100% not laziness, apathy, anything like that. It feels like you are lead weight. It feels like somebody has just taken a vacuum and sucked all of the motivation out of you. There is nothing that in the realm of mental illness that is caused by just laziness or apathy.
Yeah.
It all comes from your brain, because your brain is the control center of your entire body, including your emotions and your feelings.
You struggle. That's awesome. You struggle with this, you said, since what age?
About 10 or 11. So my struggle with mental health started when I was 11. I started experiencing depression, and when I was 11 years old, I started cutting myself. And, you know, unfortunately, I love my parents and I respect them greatly, but they didn't have the knowledge then, and they had the belief that a lot of people do, that a lot of mental health and your capacity for positive mental health comes from your spirituality.
Yeah.
And that is something that became prevalent because of a lot of religion in the world. And not everybody who's religious believes that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying there's a misconception that if you are feeling depressed or having these symptoms, you aren't as close to God or whatever else. And that is just so wrong. Because, like I said, all of this comes from your control center. And honestly, there are a lot of things that can contribute to this. Say you're working a job that you absolutely hate. It's going to make you feel a little bit depressed. But something I would like people to understand is that there's a difference between feeling depressed and having depression.
Yeah.
Depression is a clinical illness
Yeah.
that can be diagnosed by a professional that sometimes you have to take medication for.
And that's associated with mental illness.
Exactly. And I have clinical depression. I have
Yeah.
major depressive disorder that started poking its head out at 11. And like I was saying about my parents, they didn't have the knowledge, and they were under the impression that it was all spiritual related.
Yeah.
And so they told me to pray more, and that if...
It'll go away.
Exactly. They told me that if I prayed more and I talked to the preacher, I would be fine. And like I said, I love them and I'm not blaming them, but this actually really hurt me because I went on for years struggling with depression when I needed professional help. Because by the time I was a senior in high school, I had been cutting myself on and off, which is usually a symptom of depression. And I had begun to I felt drained all the time. And I feel like a lot of that was in regard to, you know, all the work I was doing being a senior. I was yearbook editor, I was doing piano, I was doing orchestra, I was doing pop rock orchestra, I was an all-A student, and then I was doing church and all that too. But, so, you know, obviously stressors can lead to depression. But like I said, that can be a contributor to the feeling of depression, which makes your clinical depression worse. So there are definitely things you can do to help your depression.
Talk about that right quick.
Yeah. So, you know, something I've found, because I've been struggling with mental health for, goodness, it's been, wow, 13, 14 years now. And what I've found to really help, first, I want to encourage everybody, when you're feeling down or anxious or anything like that, the first thing I want you to do is drink water. Drinking water. I've been drinking like 2 of these, at least 1 of these a day, and I see a major improvement in my anxiety. And hydration is key. Like, there's total science to it. But in addition to drinking water, I mean, it sounds cliche, but eating healthy really does make a difference. A diet in high protein and high fiber. And I personally am a vegetarian. I'm an ovo-vegetarian, so I eat eggs. But I eat eggs, lots of nuts, legumes, berries, lots of leafy green vegetables, because those are high in folic acid and a lot of other nutrients that are great for your brain. And whenever you do have anything like depression or bipolar disorder or anything like that, like I do, you're usually lacking in magnesium and a few other nutrients. And those are greatly attained through leafy green vegetables, and really just, you want to have a colorful plate. And with more color on your plate from those vegetables, the higher nutrient density that you're going to find. And so, healthy diet. Like I said, high protein. Like I said, I eat eggs, lots of nuts and legumes, but if you eat meat, I would recommend chicken, fish, or turkey, because those are lean meats and they're much better for your brain. And another thing that you might be lacking is omega-3s. That's found in fish, like especially salmon. If you don't like fish, fish oil, I highly recommend that. There are lots of other supplements you can take, and you always want to talk to your doctor before you take supplements. But some great ones that I take are magnesium, iron, zinc, L-theanine, and a couple others I'm kind of spacing out on at the moment.
Yeah.
But honestly, you can do a quick Google search for vitamins that help mental health, or that help with positive mental structure, anything, and you'll be able to find there are some great websites out there. Dr. Axe is a really great naturopath that has a lot of natural remedies, and he's good with vitamins. But additionally, so like I said, a lot of it is what you're putting into your body.
Yeah.
Because you literally are what you eat.
That's true.
And so,
That's true.
yeah, and so what you're putting in your body is really going to dictate how you feel a lot of the time. If you're feeling gross a lot of the time, I would recommend looking at your diet.
Yeah.
Things that are high sugar, high fat, red meat, all of that is really something you only want to eat every once in a while.
Yeah.
Same with sugary drinks, you know. If you want a sweet drink, I would recommend juice or like a fruit smoothie. Those things are going to hydrate you and give you the right kind of sugar that your body wants and needs.
That's some great information. I'm glad you shared that with the audience. And you have a beautiful story, by the way.
Thank you.
And the fact that, and I've told you, the fact that you're sitting down with me talking about something, it's not that you're just talking about it. You're actually on this journey now.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm going to be on this journey my whole life.
That is very inspiring, and I appreciate you doing that.
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity because...
Yeah, we've covered much ground. We talked about some of the misconceptions, some of the disorders that's associated with mental illness. You talked a lot about diet and things. But as we go to a close, talk to that person right now that may be suicidal or feel like they don't see hope.
Yeah.
They're afraid to reach out to someone because they may not think it's real or whatever. As we go to a close, talk to that person right now that may be struggling.
Okay. Well, I just want to say I know where you're at. Like, I totally understand, and I want you to know that you are not alone. It may feel like you're alone, but there are so many people in this world who are struggling in the same way. I encourage you to, one, reach out. If you have any kind of social media, search for platforms or groups that, if you have bipolar or borderline personality or depression, OCD, I have all of those, and I'm in a group for each one of those. There are encouraging groups where you can talk to people about the things that you experience, and it's great because they all know what you're talking about. They don't make you feel like you're alone or that you're crazy or anything like that. So I want you to look for your resources. Two, I really encourage you to get professional help. If it's an emergency and you feel like you're going to kill yourself, I want you to go to a hospital, or I want you to find somebody you can talk to at least get you through it, and then maybe seek out some help. Because I promise you, I have been in a mental facility 4 or 5 times now, and it has saved my life every time. I actually overdosed on 3 bottles of pills last year, and I was in a coma for 3 days. And it's crazy because whenever I woke up, I saw a shadow at the end of my bed in the hospital, and they told me it wasn't my time. I don't know who that was. I personally am spiritual, not religious, so it could have been anybody, a spirit guide, an angel, a relative, an ancestor, I don't know. But they reminded me that we're not the ones who are supposed to decide whenever we leave. Unless, of course, you have a terminal illness and you want to do assisted suicide, that's a little different. But I promise you, the thing is, your problems are temporary. And suicide is a permanent solution.
Yeah.
And that's something somebody told me, is you've got to realize that killing yourself is going to take away everything forever. If you're feeling, if you ever come to that feeling, I want you to reach out, because trust me, you are not a burden. You are not going to be bothering anybody. If somebody says they're bothering you, they're not the person for you, or they just don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
The thing is, you are needed here. Everybody has purpose. Even if you can't see it, I promise you, there are so many things that I would have missed out on if I hadn't survived that coma. There are so many things that I wouldn't have seen done. Like, just to give you a little bit of light, so long story short, last year, I was in that coma and I came back. If I hadn't survived that, if I had been successful, I wouldn't have met the love of my life, who I'm going to Europe with in just a few weeks. I wouldn't be moving to Oregon, the state I've been dreaming about for a long time. I wouldn't be traveling the world and taking pictures and loving people and talking to you guys about this. I wouldn't be experiencing all the things that I've always dreamed of. And there's so much more that I don't even know that's out there. There's so much that you have. Even if you can't see it now, I promise you, it's there. It's coming for you. All of these feelings that you're having, they can be helped. Professional help, exercise, diet, water, art, music. There are so many things that can help you. I promise you, it's going to be okay.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name's Heather. Thank you for watching the Brother Henry and You show today. If you've enjoyed the show today, visit us at facebook.com/The Brother Henry and You show. Thank you for watching and have a blessed day.